In the small town of Ravenshade stood a massive old house called Blackwood Manor. For over a century, nobody had lived there. The townsfolk whispered that it was cursed, that anyone who tried to stay there overnight would never return. But one autumn evening, a young journalist named Armand Qureshi came to Ravenshade. He was writing a book about haunted places, and Blackwood Manor was the most infamous of all. Armand wasn't easily frightened. He had visited cemeteries, ghost towns, even abandoned hospitals. But nothing had prepared him for the sight of Blackwood Manor. The mansion loomed over the hill, its windows shattered like blind eyes. The iron gates were rusted, the garden dead, and the air around it felt heavy, as if the house itself was breathing. Inside, the wooden floor groaned with every step. The wallpaper peeled away in strips, and a foul odor of damp earth filled the air. Armand set up his camera and voice recorder in the main hall, determined to spend the night. At midnight, the first sound came, a piano note. One single key pressed slowly from the drawing room, but the piano in Blackwood Manor had been broken for decades. When Armand entered the room, the piano lid creaked open by itself. He froze, heart pounding, staring at the ivory keys moving with invisible hands. Then he noticed something in the dust on the floor. Footprints. Bare, wet footprints, and they were leading away from the piano, straight toward the staircase. Armand raised his flashlight, his breath catching. On the landing above, he saw a figure, tall, draped in an old black coat, face hidden in shadow. The man slowly lifted his hand and pointed at Armand. "Leave, before it's too late." Armand's throat went dry. What do you want from me?" he whispered. But Armand stayed. That's when the doors slammed shut. Bang! The whole house shuddered, and the lock turned on its own. The house would not let him out. Armand's pulse hammered in his ears. He rushed to the front door, yanking the handle with all his strength. It didn't budge. "Open, damn it!" he shouted, slamming his shoulder against the wood. Nothing. From behind him came a sound. Drip, drip, drip. Armand turned, his flashlight beam trembling. On the staircase, the figure was gone. But something else was there. A trail of water, dark and glistening, slowly spreading across the floorboards. He stepped back, his breath fogging in the cold air. "Who's there? What do you want from me?" The house groaned, its walls creaking as if in reply. Suddenly, the chandelier above swayed violently. Dust rained down. The chain snapped. Crash! It smashed into the floor, inches from Armand's feet. "God! Oh God!" Armand gasped, stumbling backwards. His flashlight slipped from his hand and rolled across the hall. For a moment, the beam flickered across the far wall and revealed a mirror. But the mirror wasn't showing him. In its reflection stood the man in the black coat, staring straight at Armand, his eyes two hollow pits. And worse, behind the man, dozens of shadowy figures crowded the staircase. Men, women, children, all drenched, dripping water onto the floor, their faces pale and lifeless. Armand's chest tightened. No, this isn't real. It can't be real. The man in the mirror raised his hand again, only this time, his voice thundered through the hall, shaking the very walls. "You should have left when you had the chance." The shadows began to descend the stairs, step by step, their wet footprints echoing louder and louder. Thump, thump, thump. Armand backed away, panic clawing at him. His recorder in the hall crackled to life on its own, and through it came a chorus of whispers. "Stay. Stay with us."